How are you, JD?
Just an extra layer. If I had hair, I probably wouldn't be wearing the hat. So it's a hat optional day.
I got you. Well, the weather in terms of the sun's been out. Our first day game today, but the first 3 night games went pretty well, including an 8-1 win last night.
Yeah, and you know, cold weather, wind blowing in, so nights that you don't anticipate a lot of offense, but nothing's been able to slow this lineup down. We've talked about the relentless approach. Now the home run balls are starting to come. Bryant, back-to-back days have gone deep. That was a hanging slider from Raisel Iglesias that he jumped on. So it's just been a joy to watch this club perform.
How about the pitchers? The Cubs pitching staff, that was Jason Hamill with an RBI double in the 5th last night. They've got a 744 OPS. Obviously, whatever you get from your pitching staff, you gladly take. Hamill scoring a little bit later on the Zobrist sac fly. So Cubs with the lead and didn't feel like it was ever really in doubt, but then they would add 5 in the 8th.
Yeah, it felt very comfortable when it was 3-0, and then they put that big inning on him. Addison Russell had a big night, had 3 hits, as did Dexter Fowler. Fowler continues to swing a tremendously hot bat. So the Reds came in here at 5-1, limp out of town, being swept. And they got a good taste of what this Cub lineup is capable of, and not just the lineup, but the pitching has been outstanding as well. And they play tremendous defense also.
No shutout as the Reds got a run in the 9th, but also limited damage as Justin Grimm finished off the Reds. So the Cubs winning 8-1. They're blowing everybody out these days. They've only had one-run decision, and it was their only loss of the year. But the Rockies come in, and they're always an intriguing club because of where they play half their games. They've won back-to-back games, scoring 21 runs against the Giants, but those games, always an asterisk, were at Coors Field.
Yeah, it's a Jekyll and Hyde situation with the Rockies. They score so many runs in their home ballpark. So you give their pitchers a break at home because it is such a tough environment to pitch in, but they don't do a whole lot better on the road, and that's always been the story for the Rockies. Score a bunch of runs at home, go out on the road, obviously not as capable offensively on the road, but the pitching numbers don't really mesh up with that narrative. We'll see what this current club is capable of doing. I don't think there are high expectations. They've got a lot of young guys in their rotation, but they probably have the best, I hate to say it, story in baseball this year. Trevor Story, the young shortstop, man, what a start to his big league career.
So he's got 7 home runs, and we'll get into all the records he set in his first 4 games and 6 games. But he also hit 2 off the new high wall at Coors Field for triples on Wednesday. So he could have 9 home runs, and you put him together with Nolan Arenado, who is simply one of the best players in the league. The left side of their infield, they're in very good shape.
Yeah, and you know, with Arenado and Tulowitzki, we made that case. Now it's Trevor Story stepping in. Arenado, 42 home runs last year, tied with Bryce Harper to lead the National League. He drove in 130 runs to lead all of baseball, and looks like this Story kid is going to be a very solid contributor as well. So yeah, you worry about those 2 guys, and the guy in right field too, Carlos Gonzalez, still one of the premier players in the National League.
All right, it's early. We're only not even 2 weeks into the season, so you look at the numbers. You go Cubs averaging about 7 runs per game. The Rockies' ERA is 7.20. Their offense scoring 6.5 runs per game. Is every game going to be 7-6?
Final score today, 4-2.
Right.
That's baseball
feels,
does
right?
That to you when you whatever you expect in this game, you get the opposite many times.
All right, wind is blowing in, by the way, so if you're going to hit the ball out of the yard to right, you definitely need to keep it low. It is Jackie Robinson Day, so all uniformed personnel all around baseball will wear number 42, including Kyle Hendricks. We'll hear from his manager next. Throwing out the ceremonial first pitch and part of our CSN Blackhawks pre- and post-game coverage. Blackhawks play Game 2 tonight. Let's hear from Joe Madden. Javier Baez is back from the DL.
Yep, you'll see him all over the place, over the map. He's gotten all his work in all the different positions. He'll continue to do so. We'll get him out there relatively soon. I want him to get in some action. A young guy like that, you cannot sit too long.
And obviously not having Schwarber now, does he have a bigger role than he might have had otherwise?
Javi?
Yeah.
He could. I can't tell you that for sure, only because we have so much versatility on that bench. And he's definitely there to give, like Zoe and Addie, a definite day off, maybe one a week, hopefully, something like that. In the outfield, a lot of lefties playing. You could give even Jason a day off in right field. There's so many different ways to get him involved, but I think Matt Caesar's doing a really nice job. I guess the point I'm trying to get at. Matty's done a really nice job, too. Then you got Soler to get him involved there. There's so many moving parts right now. La Stella. All these guys are really viable, so I just got to try to get them all involved. 1885, I was negative 54, right? 69, I was negative 69, I think, at that point, something like that. It's really, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's great that we have records that go back that far. All the comparison stuff, it's again, this is the stuff that people like to read. They need to read. Is there any pertinency other than the fact that we're doing well? I don't think so. But I think it's great. Again, I've talked about it 100 times. I mean, it's great barroom banner. You pick up the paper in the morning, you read this stuff. You watch TV at night, you hear this stuff. It's good. It's good for baseball. It's good for us. It keeps everybody engaged. I love it. I think it's great. But at the end of the day, I don't worry about things like that. I think it's like I said, it means is that it's pretty obvious we've been working good at bats. And I'd like for us to continue to do that. To stay on that pace would be pretty amazing, but we'll probably back off a bit. But we're capable of a good pace all year, but it's really fun to draw comparisons from over 100 years ago. They come ready, man. Yeah, they come ready. They just come ready. It's just I'm watching them every day. I watch as I'm walking out to the field through the tunnel, by the batting tunnel. They're ready. I mean, they're engaged, and it just reminds me just to really be ready to do my job, hopefully, because these guys are definitely ready to do theirs.
And now, our national anthem.
By the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say doth that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home
welcome you to Chicago Cubs baseball on CSN. It's presented to you by State Farm. Wind is blowing in. Still cool today, but blue skies above as the Cubs entertain the Colorado Rockies, Game 1 of a 3-game weekend set. And welcome inside our broadcast booth, Jim DeShays and Len Casper. Cubs off to a great start, 8-1, their best start since 1969, and really bludgeoning opponents.
Yeah, they've done everything well, and that's why they've pitched extremely well. The offense has been prolific, and they've caught the ball. They've only made 2 errors all year, so you look at the run differential in that 2-game set with the Angels, then with the Diamondbacks winning 3 out of 4 and sweeping the Cincinnati Reds out of town, a 43, plus 43 run differential, tied for second best in Major League history through a team's first 9 games.
Right-handers on the mound, Chad Bettis for the Rockies, Kyle Hendricks for the Cubs. Cubs with a perfect homestand to start it as they swept the Reds. We'll have Game 1 against the Rockies next.
In part by your Chicago area and Northwest Indiana Lexus dealer, who invites you to test drive a Lexus today. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois. Through it all. Ford, inviting you to check out their fuel-efficient lineup at your local Ford store or at localfordstores.com. And by Southwest Airlines. Transparency. Low fares. Nothing to hide.
Jackie Robinson Day, April the 15th, 69th anniversary. Jackie Robinson breaking baseball's color barrier in 1947. Rockies and Cubs will all wear number 42, the umpires as well. And now the Rockies Southwest starting lineup. They're managed by Walt Weiss. They come in at 5-4. Ex-Cub DJ LeMahieu in the leadoff spot. Story, we mentioned him in the open. Carlos Gonzalez has always hit Cubs pitching. Arenado, one of the best in the business, at third. Gerardo Parra is in center. Ryan Rayburn plays left. It's Ben Paulson at first. Tony Walters, a rookie catcher, with Chad Bettis, the pitcher, hitting ninth.
Cubs defensively. The front court, Jorge Soler, Dexter Fowler, Jason Hayward, left, center, right. Bryant Russell, Zobrist, Rizzo, third to first. Miguel Montero is behind the plate and 60 feet 6 inches away. He's the crafty right-hander. He's our Lexus pursuing perfection starting pitcher here this afternoon. His name is Kyle Hendricks. On Saturday, he went 6 2/3 against the Diamondbacks. He threw strike one to better than 3/4 of the batters he faced in that game. Got a lot of ground ball outs. Allowed 4 hits, a couple of runs, 1 walk, struck out 5. So a good start to 2016 for Kyle Hendricks, who is now 16-9 with a 3.47 ERA in his 46 Major League starts with the Cubs.
Get the umpires for you today. John Hirschbeck, the crew chief, back of the plate. That's Bill Welke at first. His big brother Tim retiring after over 4,200 Major League games. Vic Carapazza's at second. Clint Fagan is over at third. And here we go. Hendricks. First pitch strike to LeMahieu on a fastball at 86 miles an hour. We welcome those viewers watching on MLB Network today. Sinker strike at 87. It's 0-2.
Yeah, threw a ton of those sinkers in that start against the Diamondbacks. Sacrificing a little velocity to get movement because he's not going to overpower you anyway.
In the air, Soler in left center makes the catch. So LeMahieu off to a hot start, is 0 for 1 today.
Sinker change up there for Hendricks to start the ball game. He'll also mix in the occasional curveball.
Here's Trevor Story. Rockies opening day shortstop. First guy not named Troy Tulowitzki at that position on opening day since 2006. Cutter on the outside corner for a strike. It has warmed up a little bit. 52 degrees with an east wind at 8 miles an hour. Story, the first player in Major League history to homer in his first 4 career games. Only player to record 6 in his team's first 4 games. First player to have 2 games with at least 2 home runs within his first 4 games. First 4 hits of his career were home runs. That's a first.
Yeah, it's a big mistake to set the bar that high. I mean, this kid can only go down from here.
7 homers in his first 8 games, as many or more homers than 13 teams collectively.
He's a fly ball hitter, so he's going to put up big numbers in Colorado. He's going to be a good, solid performer. I think there's a lot of swing and miss in his game. He punched out 180 plus times as a minor leaguer early in his career, but plenty of power.
Patterns his game after the aforementioned Tulowitzki. Full count, 3-2.
So you've got a ground ball pitcher and a fly ball hitter. See Hendricks' MO there, trying to work the bottom of the zone.
Carlos Gonzalez on deck. We'll try it again.
Trevor Story, a supplemental pick after the first round in 2011. Boy, a lot of good players in that draft. Javi Baez, Francisco Lindor of the Indians. Garrett Cole was #1 overall that year.
Bounced foul. So Baez is active after starting the season on the DL with the thumb injury. Minori Kawasaki heads back to AAA Iowa to make room for Baez. Story getting an opportunity with Jose Reyes sitting out after an off-season arrest. Charges were dropped recently, but MLB still will likely suspend him as Russell throws out Story, 2 down.
Good work by Hendricks keeping him on the ground.
Just talking to people, it's possible Jose Reyes may not play at all for the Rockies. Again, he never did come to spring training in the way Story has started. It's kind of been a non-story, so to speak.
I think Reyes' days in Colorado are likely over. I mean, they're going to have to negotiate a buyout, right? Because he's got this year and next plus a buyout in his contract. They owe him a bucket full of money.
Here's Cargo. He's hit in 9 games to start the season. Finished last year on a 10-game hitting streak, so that's 19 in a row, a career high. And we want to welcome All our viewers watching on LN Satellite Communications in Lost Nation, Iowa.
I would ask you where that is, but apparently no one knows.
Cubs overshift on the infield to the right. Against Gonzalez, swing and a miss on a changeup.
Pretty changeup. And there's the circle change fading down and away.
Diving stop. Addison Russell out at first. What a play. Good dig by Rizzo at the other end as well. So Russell helping out his pitcher. Now Hendricks needs good defense behind him. Cubs coming up. If today's Cubs leadoff man gets a hit, Benny's Beverage Depot will donate $100 to the Greater Chicago Food Depository. Here's the Cubs Southwest starting lineup. Cubs 8 up, 1 down through 9, scoring a ton of runs. Fowler leading the way. Hayward and Zobrist 2 and 3. Rizzo trying to snap along Olford. Chris Bryant's homered in 2 straight. Soler in left, Montero back of the plate. Addison Russell heating up. And Hendricks, the pitcher, bats 9th. And Chad Bettis ready to work. And a first pitch strike on the former Rocky, Dexter Fowler.
Chad Bettis, the Rockies' Lexus pursuing perfection starting pitcher, and he's working in a hurry. 1-0 through 2 starts with a .438.
I wonder if he's watched some opposing starters against the Cubs.
Trying to set a tone here against this patient team. Trying to be the predator here. 8-6 last year in 20 big league starts with a .423 ERA. That is 26 years of age, from Lubbock, Texas, and Texas Tech University.
Turns 27 later this month.
A 2 4 seam fastball, cutter, curve, and a change. Flips up a real slow curve from time to time.
Strike 3 called inside corner. Might have been off the corner. That's what Dexter Fowler may be relaying to John Hirschbeck.
Well, a little 2-seamer. Yeah, probably a little bit off the inside corner. Walters was set up in there, so he bought one for his right-hander.
Jason Hayward looking for his first homer as a Cub and pulls that one foul. Time for our Xfinity high-speed action. Jason Hayward this week, receiving the Wilson Defensive Player of the Year, the second straight year as the best defender in right field. He owns 3 Gold Gloves. He won the Fielding Bible Award last year as well. And per Baseball Reference's wins above replacement, he's been worth nearly 10 on the defensive side alone in his career. So there's the Gold Glove. Swing and a miss. So today he got the Gold Glove. Last night he got the Wilson Trophy. He's piling up the hardware.
He's the Secretary of Defense. First of what we expect will be many full counts. It's been a theme with this Cub lineup.
Ball 4.
Strikeout walk so far, but sooner or later they're going to put it in play, and somebody's going to have to catch it for the Rockies. And except they're not defensively, the veteran Ryan Rayburn. And a little shakeup in the outfield. Charlie Blackmon on the DL with turf toe. Eduardo Parra's won a couple Gold Gloves. He's in center. Carlos Gonzalez has won 3 of those, as has Nolan Arenado, 3 in a row, as a matter of fact, to start his career. When Mayhew won a Gold Glove a couple years back. His Keystone combo mate there is Story. Paulson at first. And Walters, he's an interesting story too. He started his career as an infielder, made the transition to catching a couple years back.
Yeah, so you mentioned several premier defenders. They're last in the majors here early on in defensive efficiency, turning balls in play into outs.
Yeah, but I wonder if in their big ballpark, if that's almost always the case.
Right.
That's why the batting average on balls in play is always high at Coors Field. That guy there, Arenado, is a magician.
2-1 on Ben Zobrist. This is a milestone game for him. Career game number 1,200. Slide step, swing and a miss. Spun him around.
Good action on that. I believe it's a changeup. It throws it pretty hard. That one went on the board at 88, so maybe just a sinker. Zobrist out in front of it a little bit.
Pitch.
Hayward likely moving here.
There he goes. Zobrist in the center. Parra racing in, dives, and he caught it. Throw back to first is late.
What a tough position to be in if you're a base runner. First off, spectacular play by Parra. He's been one of the better defensive outfielders in the game for a while now. I thought he one-hopped it. Nobody asked me my opinion, and we're going to get a good look here. And he got it. Clean catch. That's a tough read for Hayward, and he's able to scramble back. Because if you give up on the play too early and start back, you run the risk of being forced at second base.
So here's Anthony Rizzo hitting 182. He does have 10 RBIs, including 3 game winners, and is trying to snap an 0 for 17. One way to try to do it against the shift. Arenado is basically playing shortstop, so you see all that room. And the Rockies seem content. Hey, if you're going to do it, do it. Thought about it again. And Arenado is not going to budge.
Yeah, ideally, you want your cleanup hitter up there looking to, hit one over the outfielders' heads, drive in that run from first base with 2 outs. But Anthony's been scuffling a little bit here lately, so he's just looking for something positive. He's got a pretty dangerous hitter waiting on deck too.
One and two. Chris Bryant on deck. Bryant shot to left. Rayburn on the move. Makes the catch. Nothing after one. And Cubs baseball on CSN is presented to you by State Farm.
To Wrigley Field, your Coors Light in-game update. We're scoreless as we move to the second inning here. Javier Baez, activated from the 15-day DL, walked into the clubhouse this morning, big smile, said hello to all the media. He is happy to be up here, happy to be healthy, guys, and understood when he talked to all of us. Says, I know I would love to be an everyday guy, but I understand that I'll be rotating around a lot, and really, I just want to make an impact on this team as soon as I can, but said he has enjoyed watching what they've done so far. Says this is one nasty lineup, and I just hope that I get pitched to when my time comes.
Thank you, Kelly. And good to have Baez back. Yeah, I mean, we listened to Joe on the pregame show kind of talking through how he's going to fit in as Arenado gets that one past Hendricks, and he'll be safe with an infield hit. So that is the first hit of the ball game. He's trying to keep this guy in the ballpark, and this is what he does.
A good sign, though, as Hendricks gets yet another ground ball.
Calling it an error.
Whiffed on a little bit.
Yeah, I guess so.
So they gave him an error on Hendricks here?
They did.
Okay. I shouldn't mark my scorebook so quickly.
I thought it would be a hit. Hara fouls off. 5 hits his last 3 games and has hit .369 in his career here at Wrigley Field. He's got a 3-year deal over the winter. Spent time with the Brewers and the Orioles last year. Excellent diving catch in the bottom of the first. And so you mentioned Charlie Blackmon's got turf toe. He just went on the DL yesterday. Normally plays center. Swing and a miss. And Parra is gone.
Cub fans, tomorrow and Sunday's game with the Rockies are close to sellouts. Remember to go to Cubs.com. Plan now for the games you want all season long. Also, a reminder here that the Cubs have added metal detectors at all Wrigley Field gates. Gates open 2 hours before each game. Please make sure to give yourself extra time to enter the ballpark. For additional information, visit Cubs.com/security.
Ball hit hard past Ben Zobrist. So Ryan Rayburn is on. Arenado to third, and he's safe and on the play. Rayburn will take second. So a single, and he advanced on the throw. So the Rockies have runners at second and third with 1 out. And that now is the first hit.
We talk a lot about Coors Field and the Coors Field effect. Because their outfield is so big there, outfielders have take a few extra steps sometimes to get to the ball. So Rockies players are conditioned to always look to take the extra base, and that's what Arenado does here. He's a high energy guy, and he'll run into some outs from time to time, but pushes the envelope there, and it pays off.
Corner men in a bit. They're back up the middle, and Soler is over, and the wind took it right to the barrier. So a foul strike on Ben Paulson, the first baseman. Yeah, so Blackman on the DL. Nick Hundley has been undergoing the concussion protocol. He took a foul ball off his mask the other day. He is on their active roster. I would not expect to see him in action today. That's why Tony Walters is in the starting lineup. They've got 3 catchers currently on their roster. Dustin Garneau, right-handed hitter, is on their bench.
The other thing that aggressive base running by Arenado does is it allows Rayburn to get into scoring position and take away the double play opportunity here. Such a big weapon for Hendricks with all the ground balls he gets.
Base hit. Arenado will score. Rayburn will stop. And it's 1-0 Colorado. Stu Cole is Rockies' third base coach. Put up the stop sign. That's Eric Young Sr., ex-Cub, at first.
Yeah, the dreaded elevated sinker there. That one thigh high. Paulson puts a good swing on it. A little bit surprised that Cole didn't go ahead and send Rayburn here as he gets down near the bottom of the batting order.
That will be an unearned run as Arenado reached on the error by the pitcher. And here is another good story on this roster, although his last name isn't Story. It's Walters. Tony. He had not played above Double-A prior to this season. He was in the Indians organization and claimed on waivers in February by the Rockies, their opening day roster. And he lines to Russell. 2 down. And that will bring up the pitcher Bettis. I was talking with Cubs pitching coach Chris Bosio before the game. This is the 4th career start for Hendricks against the Rockies, and normally you say familiarity helps hitters against pitchers, but Hendricks is a little bit like Greg Maddux in that he's so good with the scouting reports. Boz said he thinks Kyle should do better generally against opponents the more he sees them.
Yeah, and that is somewhat rare, because normally the more hitters see a guy, they get used to seeing the ball out of his hand. They know the way he approaches things, the action on his pitches. But you're right, Hendricks is a very studious guy, and he works very hard at learning and then exploiting the weaknesses of opposing hitters.
I remember Maddux, if he didn't know an opposing hitter, that bothered him. He wanted as much information he could possibly get. on guys he would face. We also want to welcome those watching us around the world on the Armed Forces Network. Stay safe. Thanks for all you do. Great to have you with us today for the Rockies and Cubs as the inning comes to an end. Rockies put up an unearned tally and lead 1-0.
Tonight, Leila Rahimi hosts Sports Talk Live as the focus turns to the Blackhawks and a pivotal Game 2. Guests include Sun-Times sports columnist Rick Tellender and from St. Louis, the Blues color analyst Darren Pang. Tune in, Sports Talk Live, presented by Chevy Silverado tonight after Cubs post-game live. So the post-game runs into Sports Talk, into pregame, into a hockey game. Really no reason to leave the living room.
Hall of Famer Pat Foley is watching us as he preps for Game 2 tonight. So shout out to Pat. We got to hear his goal call a few times.
Yeah, that'd be good
tonight. Fastball missing on Chris Bryant, who's homered in 2 consecutive games. Outside, 2-0. So Chris went hitless in the 2 games in Anaheim to start the season. He's hit .310 since. Borderline that time. 2-1. Big crowd here today. Fans in the ballpark starting their weekend early. Only game in baseball. Everything else tonight. Which is normally a Wrigley Field tradition when we're home.
Nice to be out under the sunshine. One chase. 3-2 on Bryant again.
Line, and it just got into the glove of Paulson, the first baseman. Cubs on the hit board. Leadoff man is on.
It's such a mature approach for a young slugger, a guy who likes to hit the ball out of the ballpark. That's his moneymaker, that power. But he's multi-dimensional. He's patient. He'll take his walks. He'll take what the pitcher gives him. This is a fastball in a good spot, actually, from Betta's point of view. It's out of the danger zone, down and away. And if Bryant tries to do a whole lot with it, other than what he did, he probably has a negative result.
Jorge Soler playing left. Curve at 75. He's in for a strike. Pitch hit last night, walked and scored. Looks like Bettis will be tough to run on. We saw Hayward earlier, but that was not a straight steal.
He doesn't waste a lot of time, does he?
No, he doesn't.
Pretty quick. He'll alter that a little bit too. He's going to hold it a little longer.
Popped up and back to the seats.
Minimal leg kick there for Bettis. Not going to give the runners much of a chance.
Two and two the count. Miguel Montero is on deck. Fly ball the other way. And they call Cargo. Calls it in. 1 out. Host your most valued clients and guests in Wrigley Field's largest luxury suite, the Fannie Mae Bleachers Suite. This climate-controlled, all-inclusive area provides guests with a unique view of the ballpark and the center field batter's eye. It is perfect for socializing and networking with Wrigley Field serving as the backdrop. For more info and to purchase, visit Cubs.com/premier. So a welcome to the production crew from 20th Century Fox. They just wrapped a new pilot show, APB, shot here in Chicago. They're celebrating and enjoying the game out of the Budweiser bleachers. One strike on Montero, who figures to play even more now with Kyle Schwarber done for the year. This is his 3rd consecutive start. Probably goes tomorrow as well, and then David Ross will catch John Lester on Sunday. That was a nice luxury for Joe Madden to have that 3rd catcher, Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah, obviously it helps in that you could rest Montero an extra day, and plus to have pinch hit options if you want to hit for your catcher and have a fallback position.
He got him.
He said, Joe did, after Kyle got hurt, though, that he would still be willing to pinch hit for his catchers. Some managers don't like to do that for fear of a risk, and then you're kind of hung as to, and he said, I just got to identify who that 3rd catcher would be.
So David Ross, we mentioned, came up with the pointing down at the base, and there's been a lot of speculation as to what it's all about. I don't know who wrote it today. It might have been Mark Gonzalez. I'd like to give credit where credit is due, but it's the idea is it's all about the present, the moment, right here. This is where we are right now.
I thought it was all about that base, like the song.
It could be too. Swing and a miss. Runner goes and out is Bryant. There is that pitcher Bettis, quick to the plate. Walters threw him out. 1-0 Colorado.
game, presented by Coors Light, is JT's Porch. See the complete list of the CSN bars of the game, presented by Coors Light. Visit csnchicago.com. Not mine, JT's.
Rockies with an unearned run, leading 1-0. Mayhew in the leadoff spot with Blackman on the DL. He hit .542 against the Cubs last year, 13 out of 24. He flying to left. Start the game today. The 24th season of Colorado Rockies baseball. They entered the National League in 1993 as an expansion team with the then Florida Marlins. One National League pennant, that was 2007. Nice pick on the short hop by Chris Bryant.
Yep, and way back on that one, and bad things are likely to happen. See that ball hit the dirt in front of home plate? Come and get it. Glove stays low, and the throw is true. He's large, but he's agile.
So one out, and here's the shortstop, Story. Wanted to short his first time. We're still trying to figure out how to play winning baseball with half your games a mile above sea level and half your games elsewhere. It is a different game in Denver. So here's statistically kind of how you measure it up. This is the entire franchise history of the Rockies. They score over 6 runs a game at home. They're under 4 on the road. They hit .307. The key number there is the BABIP. That's batting average on balls in play. I'm talking home runs, any ball that is in play. It's a huge ballpark. .339 is off the charts. So contact obviously is paramount there. You also referenced the fact that obviously they're going to give up a lot of runs at home, but they give up too many runs on the road.
Yeah, and I don't know, I guess the easy explanation would be just the psychological damage that the pitchers take pitching there. Maybe the physical effects of pitching at altitude too.
Story strikes out, number 2 for Hendricks.
And I've heard all kinds of theories. I've heard that the breaking ball doesn't work at home, so guys don't throw that many, and so when they go out on the road for their starts, they don't feel like they have command of that pitch. I don't know if there's any way to prove that.
And you've heard, get strikeout pitchers, keep balls out of play. Well, everybody wants strikeout pitchers. Change-ups theoretically.
Well, De La Rosa is like, ask him, because he's the one guy that's figured it out, at least in terms of being able to pitch successfully at Coors Field.
The tapper off the bat of Gonzalez, and Hendricks will pick it up, step on the bag, and that's the inning. Second 1-2-3 for Kyle. pride with Cubs checking and an official Cubs MasterCard debit card only available at your local Wintrust Community Bank. Go to wintrust.com/Cubs to learn more. Member FDIC. Russell at the plate when Chris Bryant was thrown out to end the second. So 8-9-1 against Chad Bettis. Ground ball to third. That's Arenado. Let's go back to Addison Russell on the other side with his glove.
Yeah, he's made a number of spectacular plays already this year. One of the best young shortstops, one of the best shortstops, period, in baseball. Flat out play. Let's see it. That's a great shot there. You see him ready before the pitch. On the bounce, ready to react.
Think of some signature moments early on in his career. The home run to win the game on opening night against the Reds the other night. But how about the defensive play he made against the Cardinals last September?
One up the middle.
Flip to second.
Yeah.
Hendricks is down 0-2.
Kyle got a knock in his first start.
Ball strike three. Bettis. Good pace. Good strong here early on.
And the playing center fielder, Dexter Fowler.
I have not seen the new Ken Burns documentary on Jackie Robinson. I hear great things about it.
I saw a decent amount of part 2 the other night. It's a 4-hour movie, and PBS was showing it in 2 parts. I got part of part 2.
Major League Baseball every year on April 15th honors Robinson's legacy. He played 93 career games here at Wrigley Field, hit .295 in the friendly confines. Number is retired all around baseball, and the only time you see that number active is today. Three and one to Fowler. Ball 4. Base machine, Dexter Fowler. So he's been on base once in 2 tries today, and his on base percentage will go down because it was .590 coming in.
It's like Little League. You're supposed to be able to do that at this level.
Is the leader in that department. So a 2-out walk ahead of Hayward. Takes the pitch off the outside corner. Swing and a miss on a changeup.
Yeah, got good command of that changeup today. Well, his career splits as a big leaguer. He's actually been tougher on left-handed hitters than righties, and we're seeing why now with that sinker changeup combination. Left-handed hitters have a hard time solving that. Might prove to be one of those guys you'd be better off hitting more right-handed batters against.
LeMahieu makes a catch, tough play. And DJ LeMahieu able to run it down. Cubs lead 1 and trail 1-0 after 3.
Spokane and the Blackhawks look to shake off Wednesday's tough overtime loss and even up the series with St. Louis. Game 2 coverage begins at 6:30 on CSN Chicago. Blackhawks playoff hockey is brought to you by Volvo.
Taves pegged for the game winner in OT. Fortunately, it was the other team's captain. The Blackhawks played very well.
Yeah, he carried the play. At least the bit I watched.
The key there, you start on the road, is to win one of the first two. So still very possible. 1-1 on Nolan Arenado.
And that sinker in on the hands.
So here's an interesting note. So Arenado last year hit 42 home runs. That tied for the National League lead with Bryce Harper. And before you're sitting at home going, yeah, but he played at Coors Field. No, he hit more on the road than he did at home. That deflects off the glove of Hendricks and actually helped Russell. So 1 to 6 to 3.
Yeah, his batting average at home was far better than it was on the road. And I think that's the big difference, the Coors Field influence. We showed that graphic where we talked about BABIP, batting average on balls in play. That's where it really is a difference maker. Yeah, the light air, the ball carries further, so you're going to give up some home runs. But for me, it's trying to accommodate the light air. They built this great big ballpark, and it creates all this wide open space that enhances batting average.
Hara bunts foul. Well, I think there are two things, kind of the macro for the Rockies and how they approach things is either dig in and do very specific things, whether it's rest or however you want to do it with altitude, or go the complete opposite direction and just ignore it and tell the players it doesn't matter.
Just try to build the best baseball team possible and not worry about one.
Yeah.
Trying to accommodate the conditions there. I don't know the answer. I don't know if anybody knows the answer. That's the problem. They've tried a lot of different things. It's been a tough go for them. Their last winning season was 2010. Over the last 4 years, they've averaged 94 losses per season.
Ground ball to Ben Zobrist. Yeah, the other kind of funky thing for a position player, if you think about your own legacy, the obvious answer is, oh, everybody wants to go to Coors Field. They want to hit 330 and hit 40 bombs every year. But on the flip side, I do think guys like Todd Helton, Larry Walker, maybe even Arenado now, who would be an MVP candidate with those numbers on any other club, they do get penalized.
Yeah, and it's incumbent on the people voting for the awards and to kind of break down the numbers, look at a guy's performance, home row, try to make some adjustments because of the conditions.
Rayburn is 2 for 2. Probably would not have been in their lineup today had Charlie Blackmon not been put on the DL. It's down by Hayward. Rayburn is thinking about possibly 2. These are little subtle plays, aren't they, by a Gold Glover in the outfield. Instead of a runner at second with 2 outs, he's out of scoring position. We need to talk to Billy Williams here in about a month, because I know he watches outfield play in this ballpark. As Fowler makes a catch, and I'm sure Billy has already been impressed with the way Hayward's played right. 1-0 Rockies. Programs designed for your future Cub, from Kids Sundays at Wrigley Field to Clark's Crew and baseball summer camps throughout the Chicago area. There are many ways to build lifelong Cubs memories with your kids. Visit Cubs.com/kids to learn all about our Cubs Kids offerings. And Bettis with a 1-0 lead as he'll face Zobrist, Rizzo, and Bryant here in the bottom of the fourth.
He's issued a couple of walks, allowed one base hit. He's been far more efficient than most pitchers we've seen against the Cubs this year. Middle of the order will get their second look at him here and see if they can make an adjustment.
1-1 on Zobrist. Robbed of a blue pit by Gerardo Parra in the first. He lines to Paulson.
Well, that was well struck. But unfortunately for Zobrist, Paulson well positioned.
The 0-1 is inside on Rizzo. This back quickly. Bettis to Texas Tech. And from Lubbock, Texas, where Texas Tech is. Into right center, and it's Parra.
It's been impressive here today, Bettis. Keeping the ball down, working quickly. Well, wind shouldn't be an issue for him if you're from Lubbock. Wind blows hard there all the time.
He was an 8th round pick of the Astros out of high school, 2007. Had his mind set on Texas Tech. Lubbock, northwest part of the state, just south of the Panhandle.
It's wide open, it's flat.
Right in the heart of cotton country.
If you live in Lubbock for any time, you start to get a little lean in your gait. You're always walking into the wind.
Among the most famous people born in Lubbock, Buddy Holly and Mac Davis. Strike 2 on Bryant.
Baby, don't get hooked on me.
Good
Davis.
Got one baseball hook. Lubbock was founded in 1876, the first year of the National League. I think that's more coincidence than anything, but short right. Gonzalez in. He leaves his feet and makes the catch. So the Rockies flashing leather all over the diamond, helping their starter Bettis as they lead the Cubs 1-0 after 4. Cubs Charities. Cubs Authentics is the premier outlet for all MLB authenticated Cubs memorabilia. Visit Cubs.com/authentics to bid on weekly auction items and to pre-order game-used bases and baseballs. The Cubs will donate net proceeds from the sale of Cubs Authentics items to Cubs Charities. Pitchers have been the story here early on. As Hendricks and Bettis both been very good. Kyle's error led to the only run so far back in the second. Walters with a nice throw to get Chris Bryant earlier. Converted infielder. Wind and the 1-2 swing and a miss. He struck him out. Got him on a changeup. 9 games coming in. 8 have been quality starts for the Cubs. It's their best start in that regard since 1978. And then on top of that, JD, the bullpen's been even better.
Yeah. It's been pretty impressive work. They're not walking people. Keeping the ball in the yard.
One on Bettis. Back here on CSN tomorrow, same time, same place. Christian Bergman and Jake Arrieta. And then on Sunday, Tyler Chatwood and John Lester to wrap up the homestand. Come out and see Jake or watch us here on CSN. You might see a no-hitter. You might see a home run.
You might see a shutout. ERA of 0 for Arrieta in the last 5 home starts last year. Hendricks last year, 180 innings, struck out 167, so better than average strikeout rate. You think of him as a pitch-to-contact ground ball type guy.
Whoops. That one rolled right up the arm of Chris Bryant, so the Cubs have made 2 errors.
Matching their season total coming into this game. You could argue that the one on Hendricks should have been ruled a hit. Now, Arenado, who hit it, probably wouldn't fight for it because it was just a little tapper. This was an easier play than the one Chris made earlier. Maybe got caught peeking a little bit.
So he brings up LSU product, LeMahieu. He bunts foul.
Now, LeMahieu's a good handler of the bat. Doesn't strike out all that much. He's a guy you'd like to play hit and run with. With the pitcher being the base runner, that's not likely. Stu Cole down there at third base, a pretty long look. There's Walt Weiss, the manager.
A long-time big league shortstop, Walt Weiss.
He could pick it. He was a rookie of the year. What, 89, 90, somewhere in there?
.1988 with Oakland.
88.
It's out of play to right. 14 years in the big leagues for Weiss. He was an all-star near the end of his career with Atlanta, playing for Bobby Cox. 1998.
Play for Tony La Russa and Bobby Cox. You got to learn something along the way.
Yeah, and he didn't have any experience when he got this job as LeMahieu strikes out. I think that was stressed, not only his experience as a player, but playing for a lot of Hall of Fame type managers. He actually was coaching high school ball. And the Rockies hired him to manage. Maybe the Rockies said, I don't know what you're making to coach high school ball, but we'll double your salary.
Yeah.
I'm in. Insider all season long on Comcast Sportsnet. He is brought to you by nationwide agent Jeff Vukovich. Visit Jeff at jeffvuk.com. Nationwide is on your side. 1-0 the Cubs trail, and Jorge Soler takes ball one. Cubs have been held to one hit. That was the Chris Bryant leadoff single in the second. Partner might need your help today with the Rockies bullpen because everybody's wearing 42.
Yeah, that's going to be a bit of a challenge.
They've got 4 lefties, 4 righties, so we've got a 25% chance of getting it right. Unfortunately, Walt Weiss hasn't had to think about his pen. And that's a change from the past few days. These opposing starters, we talked so much last night. Boy, it's taken 80, 90 pitches for guys to get through 4 or 5 innings. A lot of traffic.
Well, Bettis isn't really, especially the right-handed hitters, not really trying to trick them. He's throwing sinkers and cutters. Just trying to keep the ball out of the happy zone for the hitter, down around the knees, off the outside edge a little bit. He's tricking a lot of the lefties with that good changeup.
Here's a 2-2. And he has run it full.
That was a good pitch. Just a little bit low. You can see a lot of hitters offering at this one.
First time he has started against the Cubs, and he just issued a leadoff walk. Here's Montero.
Bettis, as a minor leaguer, worked mostly as a starter. Then the Rockies moved him to the bullpen. He came up in 2014, pitched 21 times for them, all out of the pen, did not have success, had a very high ERA. Back into the rotation last year, and after a good run at Albuquerque, 20 starts at the big league level, and pretty good numbers, 8-6 with a 4.23 earned run average. And as you might expect, that ERA much better on the road than it was back at Coors Field.
Starting the year is their number 2 starting pitcher behind Jorge De La Rosa, who was originally scheduled to pitch today because of off days and the like. He went on normal rest yesterday against the Giants because of what you mentioned earlier, his success at Coors Field, and he got the win, even though he gave up 4 runs in 6 2/3. It was a quality start. 3 were earned.
Got a couple of knocks too in that ball game.
Center, and the wind's going to help the outfielders today. Tagging is Soler, but he'll hold it first. 1 out.
Cubs destinations travel packages include tickets, hotel accommodations, ballpark tours, Cubs swag, and a private meet and greet with the current player. This season's destinations include stops in Pittsburgh and Chicago. For more information, visit Cubs.com/travel. A good read by Soler, recognizing early on that I was going to be able to make a play on that ball. So he went back and tagged, had a notion, but decided not to try it. That was probably a good decision.
Addison Russell. Ball 1. Later tonight, you've got a Bumgarner-Kershaw rematch, this time in L.A. Bumgarner has 2 career homers off Kershaw. Zach Greinke, his 3rd shot at his first win as a Diamondback. They'll pitch in San Diego. The Padres off to a very weird start. They have been shut out 5 times in their first 10 games.
Had a couple of huge games up in Denver.
Bettis. He throws it away. Soler on his way to 3rd. I'm not sure he would have had Russell anyway.
Yeah, he couldn't have rolled it out there much better. A little swinging bunt by Addison Russell.
A hit and an error.
Tops that cut fastball, and Bettis on it quickly. That's the right call. I think Addison was going to beat it. The ball gets away, and that allows Soler to get to 3rd base.
And Walt Weiss out to talk with John Hirschbeck. Is he asking about potential interference play?
I'm guessing so. Checking with Hirschbeck to see if it's worth a second look, and Hirschbeck, no, I had it, I saw it, he was good. No dispute from Weiss, and we'll play on. Well, this is the safety squeeze situation here. Pitcher up, 1st and 3rd, 1 out.
probably rank Kyle #1 on the Cubs staff in terms of getting the bunts down. Promptly bunts foul. 0-1.
Otto there, even with the back, he's going to try to hold his ground as long as possible just to tighten Soler up.
There's the bunt, pretty hard bunt. The flip to the plate, and Soler is tagged out. So fielder's choice 3-2.
He could have deadened that one out in front of home plate or even butted it a little towards third base, but the ball is moving up and in on him, so forces him to change the angle a little bit. In the perfect world, he lays off that pitch. I think that little move by Arenado towards the base tightened Soler up just a little bit as well. But it's a low risk play. Even when you don't get the run home like that, you still get that man on first into scoring position.
This might be a blocking of the plate challenge. Without the ball, read Joe's lips. So yeah, I think he's going to challenge it. The catcher Walters was blocking the plate.
Yeah, the first year of that rule, we saw so much of this, and then last year, not much at all. Kind of gotten to the point where I'm conditioned not even to consider it.
I mean, look, the ball beat him by a lot, but the Cubs may claim he didn't have a lane. Well, maybe he didn't challenge after conferring with Hirschbeck. No, he didn't. So we will carry on. I think the other thing there is to maybe get that call, Soler's just got to slide straight into the plate. I mean, he slid way into foul territory. You are allowed to essentially run into the catcher if you slide straight in.
Yeah, you just can't take a path away from the plate directly at the catcher with an intent to hit him, but if he's in front of the plate, he's fair game.
One strike on Fowler. First and second. 2 outs. One more look, just watch where Soler slid.
Yeah,
way outside.
Well, he knows the ball is going to beat him, so he's trying to think of a backdoor way to sneak in and slap that back corner of home plate.
Right, so then you get into that conversation. I mean, if Jorge Soler just slides feet first, right straight to home plate, Walters goes down in a heap. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But what I think it's an example of is the rule kind of working. We haven't seen a lot of collisions, have we, since that rule was created?
No, we have not. And I think a lot of it is base runners have been conditioned not to hit the catcher. There have been opportunities. There have been times where well within their right to hit the catcher, but just go ahead and either try to take an evasive slide or just slide feet first without really trying to blast away.
Three and one.
Again in a favorable count.
Hayward on deck. This is going to get Bettis out of the inning. So he escapes and still leads this one 1-0. Cubs suggest taking public transportation. The Cubs do offer a free bike check, now located near the Addison Red Line station. For drivers, the Cubs provide free remote parking and shuttle service on night and weekend games. For information, visit the A to Z guide on Cubs.com. Cool and sunny at the ballpark. 52 when we got started. Sure, a little warmer than that now. 1-0 Rockies. There's Carlos Gonzalez, 0 for 2. He hit 27 homers after the All-Star break last year. And a strike call. Career high at 153 games last season. Two-time All-Star.
Good take there, and getting his third look at Hendricks. Wise to that changeup.
Guys in the lineup today in this game on that home run leaderboard.
The year before, Gonzalez hit just 238, had some injury problems, 11 home runs. So big bounce back year for him last season, 271 with those 40 home runs.
Line drive, base hit. So Gonzalez now with a 10-game hitting streak to start the year and a 20-gamer going back to last year. I was thinking about this, writing my notes today. If you combine his hitting streaks, which they do, they can carry over, and he hits in 57 in a row, how will it be acknowledged? So he finished last year with a 10-game hitting streak. So really it would be 47 this year.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
A lot of people say, yeah, but.
Didn't Jimmy Rollins have one of those a couple of years back?
He had like a
more than a couple of years.
35 or 36. Yeah. Bunted, a good one by Arenado, and Hendricks will throw late. So the Rockies have 2 on with nobody out.
I think that two things at play here. One, Hendricks is getting so many outs on the ground. They know he's difficult to slug against, to lift the ball against here today. The wind's blowing in, so with all that, Arenado, reigning home run champion, or tied for it with Bryce Harper last year, decides to drop down a bunt. It's a sweetheart.
Ground ball towards center is through for Parra. Here comes Gonzalez. It's 2-0 Colorado. 3 consecutive singles to start the 6th.
Just good hitting. You know, Gonzalez carved that base hit the other way on a pitch of down and away a little bit. This is a mistake. This ball is up. Parra able to get on top of it and hit it with authority through the middle of the diamond.
Chris Bosio will head out to the mound. Back on the hitting streaks for a moment. You never hear any sort of explanation other than 56-game hitting streak. It was all done in one season for Joe DiMaggio. Willie Keeler had the previous long hitting streak. That was done over the course of 2 seasons, 1896 to 97, 45 games.
And didn't DiMaggio, after his streak was broken, go on another pretty sizable run right after that?
He did.
Gerardo Parra carried a .367 lifetime Wrigley Field batting average into this game.
Here's Rayburn already 2 for 2. By the way, DiMaggio did not bunt for a hit during his streak.
No, DiMaggio wasn't going to bunt for a hit.
He had a 16-gamer after it ended, so he hit in 72 out of 73. That's pretty good. 1941. Action now in the Cub pen. That's Trevor Cahill.
DiMaggio was the MVP in 41, and that's the year Ted Williams won the Triple Crown. I believe that to be the case. I could look it up, but that would take some effort.
Kyle wants to give up another run. But the Cubs have trailed by 3 runs twice in these first 2 weeks, and both times have come back to win. Because you know what they say, the 3-run lead is the most dangerous in baseball. Or that's the hockey goal thing, right? 3-goal lead is the most dangerous.
You get a little complacent?
I guess so, yeah. Feels like the game's over, but it's not. Backhanded play, Russell, and they're going to turn 2. Well, the Rockies will get their 3rd run, but that is a terrific turn on a hard hit ball to the hole.
Oh my
6-4-3.
Wow, can this kid play? Wow. There's been some leather on display here today for both clubs. Addison Russell with 2 sparkling plays. Look how quickly he gets up and unloads to Zobrist. He's able to make that turn without a lot of heat from the base runner. Man, that is beautiful.
Remember that play. Again, they did get a run out of it. Foul strike on Paulson. Clayton Richard has joined Trevor Cahill. Swing and a miss on the change. Struck him out. That will end the inning. The 3 hits, 2 runs later, it's 3-0. MLB.com @bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment with Game Day. Live game video highlights, StatCast, news, and more. Download MLB.com @bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and tablet. Chad Bettis with a 3-0 lead.
Cubs need to do a little damage here. They need an extra base hit. He's very difficult to run on and gets a number of outs on the ground, so you're always worried about that double play. So put one down the line or into the alley for an extra base hit, that would certainly help their cause here.
In there on Jason Hayward for a strike. Changeup has been a devastating pitch for Bettis today. I think his pace has helped. Hitters asking for time. You saw Hayward needed an extra second to get ready. It definitely exudes confidence, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Pitcher grabs it and throws it.
Mm-hmm.
Two and two. Zobrist next. Then Anthony Rizzo. Called strike 3. Painted the inside.
Jason just not able to pull the trigger there. He'd seen a lot of soft stuff. Maybe thinking change up away, and it's a cutter. So he just doesn't get started in time.
Zobrist hooks one deep to right and foul. Nothing in 2.
Has not thrown many balls over the heart of the plate. Zobrist hit it hard last time, had a bullet down to first for an out.
Mayhew for the second out. Quiet start to the 6th. Here's Rizzo. Missed, ball 1. Rizzo now 0 for his last 19. He's due.
He was thinking bunt earlier in the ball game.
Hard on the ground. Will be his first hit in 20 official at-bats. I don't know if Paulson would have been better off not getting a glove on that one. Would LeMahieu have made that play?
I don't know. I suggest we look at a replay. Let's see here. Yes, LeMahieu would have made that play. He would have fielded that ground ball anyway.
There's Bryant. Foul tipped.
It's a hard one for a first baseman to leave alone, though, isn't it? Especially when it's hit hard like that, you don't have a lot of time to think about it. You just react.
95 that time. A little extra heat on that fastball. Shortstop Story, and he'll take the short throw. We're through 6. It's 3-0 Rockies. The best matchups in baseball. Join the season ticket holder waiting list. It's easy and free to register. For details, visit Cubs.com/waiting list. Kyle Hendricks trailing 3-0. 2 of the 3 earned, 1 unearned run. He's at 80 pitches starting the 7th. The countdown clock, I don't know if it got off to a late start or if Kyle's just ready, but it's at 45 seconds. Now it's down to 35. That's why we're waiting.
28, 27. Hey, Vince Velasquez yesterday, the Phillies.
Yes.
Struck out 16 batters in a complete game shutout. Did you know, this is according to the Elias Sports Bureau, he's only the 4th pitcher since 1893. That's when they moved the pitching distance back to 60 feet 6 inches. With a complete game shutout, 16 or more strikeouts, no walks, and no more than 3 hits allowed.
Wow.
Just the 4. The others to do it, Kerry Wood in 98, his 20 strikeout game, he allowed 1 hit. Roger Clemens in 98 struck out 18, allowed 3 hits. And Max Scherzer, his final start, no with 17 strikeouts.
Strike on the catcher Walters. Thought I saw a Mark Pryor reference at some point. Was he the youngest pitcher to strike out 16 in a complete game or something since Pryor? Something like that. I'll find the note.
Maybe it said it had only been done once prior to.
Maybe. 1 and 2, and I just attached Mark to it.
Solid work here by Hendricks today, and this Cub team averaging 7 runs per game, so usually this would be enough. But the guy on deck, Bettis, has been rock solid. There's action in the Rocky bullpen. Number 42 is up. a right-hander. That is Chad Qualls. I'm going to go with Chad Qualls, the veteran.
Bit in on the hand. Soler comes in. He'll play it on a hop. And Walters is on with a leadoff single.
Good start here to the top of the 7th for the Rockies. This will allow Walt Weiss to put the bunt sign in here for Bettis. His ball not really blistered either. Just jammed a little bit.
Here comes Joe, and he will make a change.
Oh, it is a pinch hitter. I thought Bettis was staying in the game.
Pitching change from Wrigley. We'll be back. Hendricks.
5th time in for Cahill this year. He worked twice in the Red Series. He's a sinker baller. You're thinking ground ball here.
The batter is a pinch hitter, Brandon Barnes.
Every decision a manager makes, you open yourself up to second guessing, whether leave a pitcher in, take a pitcher out, things of that nature. Bettis cruising along here this afternoon.
Ooh. Barnes didn't pull the bat back. He can't believe it. He's saying, I almost got clipped. But the call is made by John Hirschbeck. Did not. Yeah. Might have taken a little stab at it. Yeah, he did. Joel Sherman tweeted the note. Velasquez was the youngest pitcher to strike out at least 16. Since Mark Pryor, 2003. Cahill steps off. Good bunt. And the throw goes down the line into the bullpen. Walters around third. And he'll score all the way from first on a bunt. So some sloppy defense by the Cubs today. That is their 3rd error. as Barnes will be given a single, and then the throwing error on Bryant.
Yeah, he's squaring around as if to sacrifice, but he's not giving himself up because he can really scoot, and he goes flying down that line, puts pressure on Bryant, who never really does get the handle on that ball.
That run will be charged to Hendricks. Not sure yet if it'll be earned or not, depending on how the rest of the inning transpires. LeMahieu lines foul out of play. Cubs trailing.
Did they go hit error there or straight error? Sacrifice
hit
error? Hit and error.
Cubs trailing by their largest margin this season.
Surprised to see LeMahieu bunt, even with a strike on him here.
Yeah, they're definitely playing small ball today. It's Neil Ramirez along with the southpaw Clayton Richard.
Working real hard trying to hit that ball to the right side.
Rockies looking for their third straight win, and they're trying to end the Cubs' 5-game winning streak. Cubs came in with the best record at 8-1.
It would be worth a second look out there. Brandon Barnes at second base. He's getting a pretty aggressive lead.
Pitch. Still 0-2. Three here, 3 at Coors Field in mid-August. Got him. And a breaking ball. That's the first out. So LeMahieu's 0 for 4. He came in with a 9-game hitting streak to start the year. Story is 0 for 3. So the table setters, top 2 hitters in the Rockies lineup, a combined 0 for 7. They still have scored 4 times without a home run.
Without an extra base hit.
Yeah.
Dribs and drabs. Well, there are some bullpens you're down 4 at this stage of the ball game. You feel like you have no chance. That's not the case with the Rockies. That pen has really struggled here in the early going.
Two-0 count on Story. Jamal Mayers will conduct the stretch today. The Blackhawks Stanley Cup champ. He was a grit guy throughout his career with several NHL teams. He's not afraid to stick his nose into the corner. That surprised Zobrist pickoff attempt.
Yeah, well, Zobrist was kind of sneaking in, and he took a hard step just to try to get Barnes' attention, and I Trevor saw it, thought he was going to go all the way to the bag, and that's the right play for Cahill. Just if you're going to turn and throw it, just make sure you don't throw it over the bag. Throw it to the infielder there.
The 2-0 pitch. And that one mishandled by Montero. So a significant base earned in an unearned fashion, so to speak, for the Rockies. They've got a guy at third, and they've got to now bring the infield in.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Montero just clanked that one.
Three 3-0 on Story. Three and 1. Here's a pitch. High chopper with a runner holding at third. Bryant will throw to Rizzo, and they got him on a close play at first. Barnes holding at third, 2 outs.
I'm surprised that Brandon Barnes didn't try to score on that ball. Even if the contact play is not on, you see the ball chop like that. A guy with his speed. If he has any kind of a good lead going down that line, again, even if he's not going on contact, to read the ball off the bat, he should have been able to score on that ball.
So Gonzalez will be intentionally walked. Take your poison, I guess, because Nolan Arenado is on deck. Arenado with 11 RBIs in his last 4 games. There's today's 7th inning stretch conductor, Jamal Mayers. Got the Jake Arrieta look with the cap. I like it. If you and I were on a line in the NHL, we'd want him on the line with us. Yeah. He'd create a lot of space for us. You could do all your excessive goal celebrations.
Yeah.
He'd handle it. One and 0 on Arenado. Foul past third. First and third and a run in. Ground ball back to Cahill, nicely done. And it is time for the 7th inning stretch, brought to you by Mazda.
Today's guest conductor for Take Me Out to the Ball Game, former Blackhawk and current CSN analyst Jamal Mayers.
All right, Cubs and Hawks fans, let me hear ya. A 1, a 2, a 3. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. Cubbies.
Watch him on pre- and post-game Blackhawks coverage here on CSN. You see Brandon Barnes stays in and plays center. Parra has gone to left. Chad Qualls the pitcher and induces a swing and a miss from Jorge Soler.
Sinkers and sliders from Qualls, who's been around a long time now.
Guy's been doing it for a long time, Chad Qualls. It's kind of the anybody but Bettis day, right? For the Cubs. They get very little done against the Rockies starter.
Yeah, impressive from the young right-hander. Outstanding stuff this afternoon. Now the Cubs are going to have to rally against this Rockies bullpen. Qualls broke in with the Astros back in 2004, a big part of their National League Championship team in 05. A nice run there, then moved on to the Diamondbacks, Tampa, San Diego, Yankees, Phillies, Pirates, Miami, back to Houston.
Rockies closer, familiar to Joe Madden, Jake McGee, left-hander. Going with Boone Logan. Full count.
It's a little extra run with that lower arm angle on that two-seam fastball. So not the sink, but a lot of run.
The 3-2 and a base hit. Good start to the 7th.
Pettis really good today, but he got some help from his defenders as well. Some sparkling defensive plays. Parra out in center to rob Zobrist of a blue pit early. LeMahieu retreating over the shoulder. Fine catch. Gonzalez, a 3-time Gold Glove winner. He was diving all over the place. Arenado, one of the best defenders in the sport, hasn't had many chances down there.
All one. Montero.
Guys would have been teammates in Arizona.
Miguel had a nice spring with the bat, and that has carried over here into the regular season. Doesn't always work out that way. Trying to check his swing, and he did. Instead of 1 and 2, it's 2 and 1. This offense, you don't ever feel like you're really out of a game. And trust me, Walt Weiss is not particularly comfortable. He loves having the lead, but he knows this offense can strike quickly.
Yeah, and anywhere in the lineup too. That's the thing. There's some teams when you go into an inning and you see the do-ups and you go, all right, there's a chance of getting anything done at this part of the batting order. Not so great, but we've seen a lot of it already. A lot of firepower from the bottom of the order for the Cubs this year.
Ball 4. 2 on, nobody out.
shortstop, Anderson Russell.
Steve Foster is the Rockies pitching coach. And he's on the clock.
Pettis this afternoon, 6 innings, 3 hits, no runs, walked 3, struck out 4 through 98 pitches.
Russell, the batter. First and second, no outs. The pitch. Ball 1. Tommy LaStella is on deck in the pitcher's spot. Fly ball. He got under it. And it's caught by Barnes. Soler will tag, and the Cubs have runners at first and third. That ball actually carried pretty well with the wind blowing in.
Right day, it might end up in the basket.
Ladies and gentlemen, pitching for the Cubs, Tommy LaStella.
Stella will pinch hit. Might see Logan if the score were a little different, but Walt Weiss has a little wiggle room here, so he leaves Qualls in to face the lefty. And the pitch outside. Kyle Hendricks today, 6 innings, 7 hits, 4 runs, 2 earned. So the Cubs do get another quality start. He didn't walk anybody, and he struck out 5. That is 6 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. Ground ball to first, and they'll get 1, and that's it. Qualls didn't cover first base. So the Cubs get on the board. It's 4-1. Paulson did everything right. Nobody covered first. And as a result, LaStella will get an RBI on the fielder's choice.
Ball sharply hit. You know, I think Qualls got caught there because Paulson was so far off the base. I think he's thinking that's going to be a play for the second baseman, but you cannot make that assumption. Still have to break and cover. Would have been a tough double play to turn, but they didn't even have a chance to try because he failed to break.
So 1-0 on Dexter Fowler. Stella at first, 2 outs and a run in. Snagged by the catcher Walters. Are you saying Chad Qualls had some qualms about getting over to first?
Apparently he did.
LeMahieu will pick it up, and the inning is over. So the Rockies give up a run, but still lead this game 4-1.
chance to catch the best matchups in baseball, join the season ticket holder waiting list. It's easy. Free to register. For details, visit Cubs.com/waiting list.
Cubs trail 4-1. Tender Clayton Richard will work here in the 8th.
Yeah, lefty due up here in Para. And then after Rayburn, it's another lefty, Paulson. So Richard comes out of the pen, made his season debut on Wednesday against the Reds. He was held out of action for a while, had a bout of strep throat. This game will give you that sinking feeling. A lot of ground ball pitchers in this one today.
Para late swing, and it's 1-1 on him. Slings it up there at 90 miles an hour, just off the corner. Ground ball toward the hole, backhanded. Russell. It's past Rizzo. And it bounced out of play. So another error. So a hit for Para. You got to give somebody an error.
Yeah, and that'll be charged to Addison Russell. That's a tough error from the backhand. Long throw to make.
Fourth Cub error.
Oh, it took a funky bounce on
really
Rizzo.
did.
To see it kick back the other way.
I think there's a little hole in that chain link fence where the ball snuck through. Runner goes to third, and Para is safe with a steal.
Had a huge jump.
Christian Adames.
Oh man, that's
where it went.
That's bad luck there. I think the Cubs should have gotten a free drop from there.
Popped up. Rizzo over, and he will not have a play.
Now, Cubs have, to this point in the season, been outstanding defensively. A little bit of a breakdown here this afternoon. First 9, just 2 errors. Today, 4 errors.
Adames is a switch hitter. Just his 40th major league game over the last 3 seasons. Choke up on the bat, infield in. Another foul. And it's 1-2.
That should be an addendum to the Major League rulebook. If ball passes through hole and fence that otherwise should not be there, base runner is not entitled to advance.
Two and 2 the count. He could not hold. That is a strikeout. 1 away.
I don't think if Clayton has a strikeout pitcher, but it was certainly a situation where he needed one and he got it.
Ben Paulson will be pulled for a pinch hitter. I'm guessing this is going to be Mark Reynolds, and it is. Infield will stay in. Don't want to give up anything here. You only have 6 outs left offensively.
The slugger will be intentionally walked.
Catcher and a left-handed hitter, Walters, now on deck.
It's usually the manager who's trailing that you see real aggressive with all the moves, trying to get back into the ball game. Usually the manager that has the lead, a little more conservative, saving guys, just in case he ends up having to go extra innings or something. But Walt Weiss's clearly in go-for-it mode here, trying to pad his lead, using a couple guys off the bench. Because you said that Hundley is questionable, his availability?
Yeah, it seemed like the speculation was he would not play. They do have Dustin Garneau, a right-handed hitter.
But he'd be the only one left other than
Correct.
Hundley at this stage.
Yep.
Adames has been used, Barnes, and now Reynolds.
So lefty to lefty, and Walters stabbed at it.
And that may just be, Walt, maybe his philosophy. It may be, too, when you manage at Coors Field, your thinking is there's never enough. So you're always pushing for more runs. And given that in a leaky bullpen, understand why he would try to take every advantage he could. Now they're kind of thinking safety squeeze here themselves.
And runner advances. Reynolds to second. Rockies have been a very aggressive base running team today, and it's paid off. Wild pitch charge to Richards, so that takes the double play chance away. Infield in. Top to first, and Rizzo tried to barehand it, and fortunately for him, he didn't, and that ball kicked foul. He might have at the last second pulled away from it, I'm not sure, but he was trying to make a desperation pick and throw to the plate, and the ball took a right turn. Walter's heart skipped a beat too. Freight train coming through. Yeah, the other thing too, you're playing a team that's scoring 7 runs a game. Walt Weiss thinking exactly, I need to pile up as many runs as I can against this Cubs team. Fell John Hirschbeck.
Came up under the mask, maybe.
Ed Halber out of the Cubs dugout very quickly. The other 3 umpires heading to home plate as well.
He's got that extension on his mask, but it still was able to sneak up underneath, get him in the throat.
do about that one. He is the crew chief, by the way. They are discussing whether or not he should continue. And
I know you saw Ed have him take his glasses off so you look at his eyes.
Yeah.
He's a little woozy after that. He's trying to take some time to gather himself.
I think this is a good change, not only in baseball, but in all the major sports. Any sort of question about whether you have a concussion or not, you better make sure. There was a long conversation there whether or not he should continue. You'd rather be safe than sorry.
So yeah, it looks like
Clint Fagan maybe went to get the.
Yeah, I think he went to get the gear on, and with the idea of John's going to continue here, but after this half inning, I think there's going to be a change.
Probably go through the concussion protocol. Infield in 1-2, missed. Throw to third, safe.
Worth a shot.
Two. Fouled again.
Nine hole is next, but it's Brandon Barnes. Remember, he came in as a pinch hitter earlier.
Rizzo charges, and he could not get a handle on the ball to make a throw. So Parra scores, and they have their 4-run lead again. It's 5-1.
This is a weird game, man. There's been a lot of singles, misplays. He's trying to be quick there, just loses the handle. Error number 5, is that? I'd say there must be a full moon, but
not sure it's an error. Oh, it is an error. Okay, they are give him an error. Yep, number 5. We'll be back. Pitching change. right-hander, making his third appearance. Right now, there are only 2 umpires on the field. I believe it was Clint Fagan who ran down to the umpire's room, maybe to don the gear. And during this pitching change, John Hirschbeck also went down into the tunnel.
And Bill Welke went out and chatted with Neil, and basically, you could see motion with his hands. Just go easy. You got time here.
Cubs with 5 errors in this game. I don't really have a big issue with Anthony being given an error, although I would say that the play at the plate would have been close. It was a tag play, not a force play. Yeah, would have taken a good throw and a good tag to get Parra.
Yeah, kind of like a do-or-die play for a third baseman on a little slow roller. Instead of throwing the first, of course, Rizzo's trying to come home.
And they just took away the error.
Yeah.
Again, splitting hairs, but I would have called it a fielder's choice.
After seeing the replay, I'm with you.
So now 4 Cub errors. And a 5-1 Rockies lead.
Slow rollers, bunts, off-field singles. They're not tearing the cover off the ball, but they have 9 hits in the ball game now.
A reminder, tomorrow afternoon, Jake Arrieta tries to go 3-0 here in 2016 as the Cubs host the Rockies in the middle game of this 3-game series. Coverage starts at 12:30 right here on CSN Chicago. Oh, Jake's already got his game face on. 24 hours ahead of the start. So we are in a bit of a delay here as we await Clint Fagan, who will end up back at the plate, and John Hirschbeck done for the day after taking a foul ball off his jaw. And I was thinking they've got that little extension, below the mask. There's really no way to protect the ball from coming directly at your feet into your throat area. It's the one area you really can't do much about. So we will finish the game with 3 umpires. I certainly hope, John, it's okay.
See where Jimmy Leland is going to manage the Team USA in the World Baseball Classic.
Fantastic.
Rolls around next year. Leland retired after the 2013 season.
Excellent choice.
Jeff Jones, Marcel Latchman, Lloyd McClendon, Willie Randolph, and Alan Trammell will all be on his coaching staff.
Like they wanted to squeeze. A safety squeeze as Reynolds, the runner at third, was ready to race home.
That Barnes put a bunt down last time. He was sacrificing, but it was such a good bunt, and with his wheels, he was able to turn it into a hit.
Yeah, so I guess the irony is the Rockies came in leading the majors in extra base hits. And kind of nickel and dimed the Cubs all day.
20 home runs, 49 extra base hits in their first 9 ball games. So they're playing a different game here today.
Runner goes from first. And he will get second. Barnes nearly got hit by that pitch. Stolen base, Walters. That's 3 in the last 2 days, right?
Mm-hmm. Looks like his last plate appearance when he had to jump out of the way while trying to bunt it was called a strike. This time he was able to pull the bat back.
Second and third and a 2-0 count on Barnes. The pitch. 3-0. It's LeMahieu next. And they're loaded. LeMahieu started the day at 438. It's April baseball, so the numbers change a lot. Down to 389. What's going on? I lost 50 points on my batting average. What's going on? On the flip side, the guy may be batting 170, goes 3 for 4, and he's hitting 240.
Addison Russell, after his ball game last night, jumped up to 250. He was in a $170, I think, prior.
Russell, backhanded play, out at second. That's the only one they'll get. They were fortunate to get that. Nicely done up the middle, but another run is in. It's 6-1. LeMahieu on a fielder's choice will get an RBI.
And the play was shortstop. Trevor Story.
Also actually went beyond that ball.
There's the shortstop, Story. Story put together a month's worth of home runs in his first 6 games. Mayhew runs, swing and a miss. He steals second. Man, is this the '85 Cardinals? Rockies. Very aggressive. Called strike 3, and the inning is over, but the Rockies add 2 to their lead. It's 6-1 in the 8th. Rockies. Reynolds stays in and plays first. Adames is now at short. And the new pitcher is left-hander Boone Logan.
4 1/3 innings of work so far for Logan. He's allowed 4 hits, 3 walks. Fastball averages around 93 miles an hour. Good slider. He leans heavily on that slide ball.
One ball, no strikes on Jason Hayward. Three, fastball strike, 1-1. Another chance for the Twins and the Braves to get their first wins. Both 0-9. Tapper, Logan will field. Flip to Reynolds for the out. Twins have the worst start in their history since they became the Twins in 1961. Braves trying to avoid tying their all-time worst start of 0-10 in 1988. Twins host the Angels. Braves are in Miami.
And the Twins have scored 14 runs. Is that correct?
Ooh.
It's pretty ugly.
Zobrist batting right-handed. Takes a strike.
I saw a note on the Twins. Is it 15?
No, sorry. 14 runs in 9 games.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's hard to have a winning record as a soccer team with those numbers.
Right.
And I believe, at least it was the case after 8 games, they had more strikeouts than hits in each one of their games.
And Joe Mauer is hitting .387. It hasn't mattered. The team ERA 3.61, not bad, but just aren't scoring. Logan again. Couple of 1-3 ground outs. Today's CSN bar of the game, presented by Coors Light, is JT's Porch. To see the complete list of the CSN bars of the game presented by Coors Light, visit csnchicago.com. Rizzo at 2 outs. The 1-0 pitch. It's a strike. Rizzo's single in the 6th, snapped an 0 for 19. Walters wants his slider in the dirt, and that's exactly where he got it. shifting Adames' shortstop right where Rizzo hit it. Cubs go in order. They trail by 5. Is able bat here in the 9th inning. First day game at Wrigley Field here in 2016. Neil Ramirez came on in the 8th. And working here in the 9th.
Rockies have only gone down in order twice this afternoon, first and third innings. Stolen 5 bases. Taking advantage of some sloppy play by the Cubs.
One ball, no strikes. Cubs can extend the bottom of the 9th. Get to the pitcher's spot. We possibly could see Javier Baez make his season debut off the bench. He was activated off the DL for today's ball game. Nori Kawasaki heads back to AAA. We'll see him again this year, though, no doubt. 1-2 off the end of the bat, poked foul out of play.
Yeah, Baez gives Joe Madden a lot of options. He's very good defensively, so he can spell Addison Russell at shortstop. He can play second and give Zobrist a day off. So I'll play the outfield for you and play it well. Might even end up at first base at some point.
Of defensive versatility, the Cubs have a lot of it, but I would say, you know, a fair amount of it is this guy can play this spot if needed. ... But in the case of Baez, I think Joe feels like he is the primary backup at several different positions. Gonzalez is aboard. Second hit, third reach. For instance, Ben Zobrist, kind of the prototypical guy who can play everywhere. He's only played second so far, and they may not need him to move around much.
That second hit for Gonzalez today, both times going the other way.
Rizzo in foul territory makes the catch. Arenado is out. Justin Miller.
Arenado didn't hit the ball out of the infield today. Didn't get it past the pitcher's mound. Well, he did. The one tipped off of Hendricks' glove out to Addison Russell. Reach on air by Kyle Hendricks first time up, then a 1-6-3, and then a bunt single, then a comebacker to the mound, and then this foul pop to Rizzo. So the Rockies getting it done here without a whole lot from Arenado. Story's taking an offer. LeMahieu offer.
Barra bounces to first, step on the bag, and now they've got Gonzalez caught in a rundown. Russell will get him to end the inning. We go to the bottom of the ninth. It's the Rockies 6 and the Cubs 1. Beverage Depot, and we're going to give it to the Rockies starter, Chad Bettis.
Yeah, he was really good here this afternoon. 6 innings of 3-hit baseball. Cubs did not have a man in scoring position against him until the 5th inning. They just weren't able to put anything together. He stayed out of the middle of the strike zone and moved the ball in and out nicely. Had a real good changeup to neutralize the left-handed hitters. Solid start for him. No runs. He walked 3, struck out 4. Big righty Justin Miller comes on now to try to seal the deal for the Rockies.
Benny's Beverage Depot is the official champagne provider of the Chicago Cubs. There's Chris Bryant. Just gotta have a good quality at bat. Love to be able to at least force Walt Weiss to get his closer McGee up. Got a fancy set there, doesn't he? Where he kind of uses that glove up in kind of an around way to get to the set position.
He's a stylish right-hander.
Yeah, I like it. Got him on strikes for the first out.
Little front door slider. I'm not sure that's what he intended to do with that pitch, but it worked out for him. Trying to go away and backs up, but it hung on to the inside corner.
Soler has flied to right, walked, and then singled and scored the only Cub run in the 7th. Strike one on Jorge.
Last night at the end of the ball game, I joked that I was going to make a tape of me saying how the Cubs have excelled in all 3 phases of the game, and the way they were playing, we're just going to plan on running that little recording after all these Cub wins. Well, today, not so much. I thought Hendricks was good today. I thought he threw the ball well. Incredible performance, good enough on many days, but just not able to get it done with the bats and sloppy defensively here this afternoon.
Yeah, it's hard to overcome 2 of the phases having tough days. The Rockies have done all 3 well as Soler strikes out looking. It's up to Montero.
Similar in stature to Qualls, big right-hander, big-bodied guy. Likes that slider.
Strike to Montero. Oh, it's 0-2. What do you think the difference in temperature is between those seats in the sun and the seats in the shade?
I'm going to say the feels like difference is about 14 degrees.
Yeah. See everybody in the crowd into the sunny part of the grandstand here late. The 0-2 is a little bit in, and so it could have been called. Montero sold it well. 34,437 the paid crowd today. Largely taken out of this game by the Rockies.
Rockies came into this one 5-4, having won 2 of their first 3 season series. They just beat the Giants 2 out of 3 before coming to Chicago. Nice play down there. What a baby.
Russell on deck. 1-2 on the Cubs catcher. Pitch. Another foul ball.
correct me if I'm wrong, there's not been an extra base hit in this ballgame.
Field and drop just past the bullpen. You are correct. Not a one. We've seen 14 hits. They've all been singles. Another 1-2, and strike three as Montero went around. Miller strikes out the side, and the Rockies take the opener. 6-1 the final, and the Rockies, it was their day today.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those days for the Cubs. They've been playing so well, just not their day. The kid Bettis was really good. Kyle Hendricks, I thought, had a very good start, but the Cubs hitters couldn't get much going and committed some errors. The Rockies took advantage. And we'll try again tomorrow.
So join us tomorrow right here on CSN. Our pregame coverage begins at 12:30. First pitch at 1:20. For JD and our entire crew here at Wrigley Field, Len Casper with your final score. Rockies 6, Cubs 1. Stay tuned. They're setting up on the field. Kevin Holly will have Blue Cross Blue Shield Cubs post-game live next.